Thank you for taking the time to join this safety stand down as we mark No Falls Week, supported by the No Falls Foundation. This week is a reminder of something we all know but can never afford to overlook. Falls are one of the most common and most preventable causes of harm in our industry. Whether it's working at height, stepping off a vehicle, using access equipment, or simply moving around site, the risk is present in our day-to-day duties. It's not a rare event, it's a daily occurrence, and that's exactly why it deserves our full attention. At ProTech, safety isn't a slogan, it's a responsibility we all share. Every task, every shift, every decision contributes to whether we go home safe. No Falls Week gives us the chance to pause, reflect, and challenge ourselves to do better, because even one fall is one too many. Today, I want us to focus on the basics that protect us. Using the right equipment for the job, checking our surroundings before we start, speaking up when something doesn't look right, looking out for each other. Small actions prevent big consequences. Let's use this stand down to reset, refocus, and recommit to working safely, not just this week, but every day. Your safety matters, your choices matter, and together we can make sure no one becomes a statistic. You can see this on the poster. Let's not be one of the 35 people to die, that is 1 every 10 days. 44,000 people injured, that is 5 people every hour. 416,000 working days lost, costing £764 million. Over the last 10 years, 361 people have lost their lives, and the HSE estimate around 425,000 people injured. If we all think back to last year's Safer Together, we met Dylan, and I know it made it hit home for me. Let's not forget the impact on him, for a day's wage. So please do not take working at height lightly. Take these learnings to work every day with you. Let's take a couple of minutes to talk about working at height, because falls remain one of the biggest causes of serious injuries and deaths in our industry. The message today is simple. Every job at height must be planned, controlled, and carried out by competent people. First, let's talk about education. Everyone involved in work at height needs to understand the risks. That means proper risk assessment, choosing the right equipment, and making sure people are trained and confident in how to use it. Awareness is the first line of defense. Next is research. Organizations across the industry continue to study why falls happen, and the findings are clear. Most incidents come from predictable, preventable issues, poor planning, the wrong equipment, or shortcuts. We learn from these events so we don't repeat them. Then there's support. When things go wrong, the impact can be life-changing. There are groups out there providing guidance and help to people affected by falls from height. It's a reminder that behind every statistic is a person, a family, and a story. If we remember, we all met Dylan and heard his story last year. On the next slide, let's look at the practical side, the actions we take on site. But first, let's open this up for any questions. Today, we're focusing on working at height and the fall protection hierarchy, which sets out the safest way to plan any work at height. The key message is simple. As you move down the hierarchy, the risk increases, so we must always start at the top and only move to the next level if there is no safer option. 1. Eliminate the fall. Our first priority is to remove the need to work at height altogether. That means bringing the task to ground level or redesigning the job so no one is exposed to a fall. If we can eliminate the hazard, we do it. 2. Passive fall restraint. If elimination isn't possible, we use built-in physical protection like guardrails, parapets, or fixed barriers. These controls don't rely on the worker doing anything. The protection is always there. 3. Active fall restraint next is preventing someone from reaching the fall hazard using a harness and restraint lanyard. This requires trained, authorized personnel and a written rescue plan in place before work starts. 4. Fall arrest. This is the last resort. Fall arrest doesn't stop the fall, it stops you after you've fallen. It requires full training, correct equipment, regular inspection, and a robust rescue plan. Stop. No work without controls. If the correct level of protection isn't in place, work does not start. We follow the hierarchy in order: eliminate, passive, active, arrest. Ladder and access equipment safety. Before we start, I want to remind everyone that before using any access equipment, you must complete a pre-use inspection in the Safety Culture app and mark up the inspection tag. If it's not inspected, it's not used. If it's defective, it's taken out of service immediately, quarantined, and reported. Hierarchy of access equipment. We follow a strict hierarchy of equipment. Each item has a specific purpose, and it must only be used for that purpose. No exceptions. Single-step hop-up. The first item is the single-step hop-up. This is for single-point, short-duration work only. It must not exceed 1 meter in width, and it is not a working platform. You work exactly where you stand. When you move your feet, you move your balance point, so you must stay alert to your footing at all times. If your task requires you to move around an appliance, or if your work footprint is wider than 1 meter, then this is not the correct access tool. In that case, you must select a platform with proper handrail protection. Box frame ladder. The box frame ladder. This ladder is for access and inspection only. No work is permitted from a box frame ladder, not even small tasks. You maintain 3 points of contact at all times, and you only use it to reach a safe working platform. If work needs to be carried out at height, you must choose a safer, more stable option. Flat step ladder. The flat step ladder. This is for short duration, light task work. You must keep 3 points of contact at all times, and you must not use power tools on this ladder. This is for quick, simple tasks only. If the job requires both hands, repetitive work, or anything more involved, then you need to move up to a podium or another protected platform. Remember, to summarize, inspect before use, tag before use, and only use each piece of equipment for its intended purpose. If the task doesn't fit the equipment, choose safer equipment. Don't try to make it fit. Look at the next slide and the next level of access equipment. Ladder and access equipment safety. Safe use of platform steps, podiums, and self-build towers. Before we begin, I want to reinforce one rule that applies to all access equipment. Before using anything, steps, podiums, or towers, you must complete a pre-use inspection in the Safety Culture app and mark up the inspection tag. If it's not inspected, it's not used. If it's defective, it's taken out of service immediately, quarantined, and reported. Platform steps. Platform steps are the least preferred option in this group. They're suitable only for short duration, low-risk tasks where a higher level of control isn't reasonably practicable. When using platform steps, maintain 3 points of contact when climbing or descending. Complete a full pre-use inspection. That includes the stiles, platform, locking bars, feet, and handrails. Remember, platform steps are not a podium. They are restricted in how they can be used. Work within the platform area. Do not stand on the top handrails and do not overreach. Set them up on firm, level ground with all braces locked. Platform steps offer limited fall protection, which is why they sit at the bottom of this hierarchy. Podium platforms. Next up are podium platforms. These provide a fully guarded working platform, which significantly reduces fall risk and allows safer two-handed work. Key points for podium use. If the platform requires any form of building, only personnel with PASMA certification may erect, modify, or dismantle podiums. Only use podiums that have full guardrails and anti-surf devices fitted. Carry out a pre-use inspection. Check the platform, guardrails, locking mechanisms, wheels, and feet. Podiums are suitable for small tools and light equipment. They must be used on firm, level ground, and you must never climb them externally. Podiums must be inspected and tagged using an inspection tag system. Users must be trained in the safe use of podiums. Podiums are a safer alternative to steps because they provide collective fall protection. Self-build tower scaffolding. Finally, we have self-build tower scaffolding. These towers provide a large, stable, fully guarded platform for longer duration or higher risk tasks. They are the preferred option when stability, reach, or task duration increases. Safe use requirements. Towers must be erected using the 3T method or the AR method, following the manufacturer's guidance. Only personnel with PASMA certification may erect, modify, or dismantle towers. Towers must be level, braced, locked, and fitted with internal access ladders. Never move a tower with people or materials on the platform. Towers must be inspected and tagged using a SCAF tag system. Inspection requirements include after assembly, after any modification, every 7 days, after adverse weather. Self-build towers are the preferred option when the task requires stability, duration, or significant reach. Conclusion: choose the right equipment for the task. Inspect it, tag it, and use it only within its designed limits. If the task demands more stability or protection, move up the hierarchy you can find on the next slide. Don't take shortcuts. Before we bring any MEWP onto site, we need to make sure we're choosing the right machine for the job and the conditions we're working in. A poor choice creates avoidable risks. So here are the key points we check every time. First, look at the task requirements. What height do we actually need to reach, and do we need to get up and over anything? Think about horizontal outreach, especially if we're working over machinery, voids, or plant. Make sure the platform can safely take the combined weight of people, tools, and materials. And remember, different tasks need different machines. Maintenance, installation, facade work, or tight internal access all drive different choices. Next, assess the site and ground conditions. Check the ground bearing capacity. Soft ground, backfilled trenches, or hidden surfaces might mean we need spreader plates or a different MEWP altogether. Match the machine to the terrain. Rough terrain units for uneven ground, slab machines for smooth floors. And don't forget weather. Wind, rain, ice, and poor visibility all affect safe operation. Space matters too. Narrow aisles or low ceilings may push us toward compact scissors or vertical masts. Then consider access and maneuverability. Can the machine physically get to the work area? Check door widths, ramps, gradients, and turning circles. Look for overhead obstructions like pipework or steelwork. These often dictate whether we need a boom rather than a scissor. Also think about setup space. Outriggers, stabilizers, and turning radius all need room. From there, select the MEWP type. Scissor lifts are for straight-up vertical access with good platform space. Articulated booms give us up and over reach around obstacles. Telescopic booms provide long horizontal outreach in open areas. Vertical masts are ideal for tight indoor spaces. Tracked spider lifts are lightweight and great for uneven or sensitive ground. We also choose the right power source. Electric machines are best indoors, quiet, and zero emissions. Diesel is for outdoors and rough terrain. Hybrids work well when we're moving between indoor and outdoor areas. On top of that, we must meet safety and compliance requirements. Check the wind rating. Not all machines are suitable for outdoor exposure. Use of full restraint harness and lanyard are mandatory on all MEWPs. A rescue plan must be in place and briefed before work starts. Our company rescue plan is on our safety culture pre-use inspection. Ensure you make yourself aware of this and also your second man that may have to perform the recovery. Operators must be competent and IPAF certified for the category they're using. And finally, carry out pre-use checks every day before operation. Lastly, think about environmental and operational constraints. Noise limits, fumes, and proximity hazards like power lines, traffic routes, or pedestrians all influence what machine we choose and how we use it. In summary, selecting the correct MEWP is about matching the machine to the job, the environment, and the foreseeable risks. If anything doesn't look right, stop and reassess. And if you're unsure, speak to the hire provider with your site-specific constraints. protecting yourself and others when working at height. I want to focus on something that often gets overlooked when we talk about working at height. And that's the hazards to and from others around you. It's not just about your own safety, it's about the people working beside you, the public moving past the site, and the plant and machinery operating nearby. When we work at height, we create risks in both directions. We can be harmed by others, and we can unintentionally put others at risk if we don't control the area properly. That's why good segregation and constant monitoring are absolutely essential. Barriers, exclusion zones, signage, and clear communication are what keep people out of danger. If the area isn't controlled, the risk isn't controlled. Remember that an excavation is classed as a fall from height risk. Anyone approaching the edge, whether they're part of the job or just passing through, is exposed to the same danger. Members of the public and workers from other teams often have no perception of the risk, so it's our responsibility to make sure they can't access it. When you're working above others, on scaffolding, mobile platforms, or any other working at height equipment, where there is a protection below required and no segregation, ensure the use of safety netting or crash decks. You must protect the people below you just as much as you protect yourself. That means securing tools using tool tethers, controlling materials, preventing dropped objects, and making sure no one enters the drop zone. So the message is simple: protect yourself, protect your team, and protect everyone around you. Working at height isn't just a personal risk, it's a shared one. Good segregation, good communication, and good awareness are what keep everyone safe. Edge protection requirements when working at height. On this slide, we're focusing on one of the most critical areas of safety: edge protection. Whether we're working on a roof, near an excavation, or on any elevated surface, the principle is simple. If someone can fall, we must prevent that fall. Edge protection is our first line of defense. It stops people falling, it stops materials falling, and it creates a predictable, controlled working environment. So let's walk through what good edge protection looks like and how we apply it in different situations. First, let's talk about what compliant edge protection actually is. A safe system must prevent a person from falling, prevent tools or materials from dropping, and be strong enough to withstand foreseeable loads. It must be installed by competent people and inspected regularly. A standard guardrail system includes 3 key components: a top rail at a minimum height of 950 millimeters, like what is found on scaffoldings and access equipment, an intermediate rail so no gap exceeds 470 millimeters, and a toe board at least 150 millimeters high. These 3 elements work together to protect both people and materials. Now let's move to excavations. Even though the work is at ground level, an excavation is legally classed as a fall from height risk. Anyone can fall in: workers, plant operators, or members of the public. So we treat the edge exactly the same as any elevated platform. That means physical barriers, clear segregation, and preventing unauthorized access. In public areas, we must go even further because the public often have no awareness of the risk. Edges can also collapse, so inspections must be frequent. Good working practice and Protect policy states every 24 hours, and plant exclusion zones must be maintained to prevent vehicles striking the edge. Let's talk about roofs, low parapet walls. When we're working on roofs, parapet height is a major factor. A parapet below 950 millimeters does not count as edge protection. If it's under 300 millimeters, we treat it as no parapet at all. Between 300 and 949 millimeters, it can act as a toe board, but we still need a top rail and a mid-rail. Only parapets at 950 millimeters or above may be acceptable as full edge protection, and only if they're structurally sound. When any project or considerable amount of work around an edge, the requirements are 1100 millimeters roof gradients. Roof gradient changes the risk. On flat roofs, standard guardrails are usually enough. On low-pitch roofs, the risk of sliding increases, so the guardrails must be positioned closer to the work area. On steep roofs, guardrails alone may not be sufficient. We may need to have this fully assessed and approved by the safety team before work commences. Always make sure you have received a roof survey or have one completed before accessing a roof. Handrail height is always measured from the surface you're standing on. If we raise the working level, for example by installing insulation or decking, the guardrail height must be increased accordingly. The legal minimum is 950 millimeters, but in practice we often exceed this to ensure robust protection to 1100 millimeters. If the parapet or existing structure doesn't meet the requirement, we add temporary edge protection. To close, the message is straightforward. If there's a risk of a fall, we must prevent it. Whether it's a roof edge, a low parapet, or an excavation, the requirement is the same. Protect the edge, protect the people, and protect anyone below. Edge protection is not optional, it's a legal requirement, and more importantly, it's a life-saving control. Safe ground conditions for MEWs and access equipment. Before we position or operate any access equipment, especially mobile MEWs, we must make sure the ground conditions are safe. Most MEWP incidents don't happen because the machine fails. They happen because the ground underneath it wasn't suitable. So ground assessment is not optional. It's a critical part of safe setup. Why ground conditions matter? MEWPs and access platforms put a lot of weight through a small footprint. If the ground can't support that load, the machine can sink, tilt, or overturn. So we always assess the ground before we move, while we maneuver, and after we position the equipment. Key ground checks before moving. Any access equipment. When you're maneuvering a mobile platform or any mobile access equipment into position, check the following. The surface must be firm, level, and load-bearing. Avoid soft ground, mud, backfilled trenches, or recently disturbed soil. Look for slopes, cambers, potholes, and uneven surfaces. Identify drains, manhole covers, ducts, voids, or fragile surfaces. These may collapse under load. Watch for wet, icy, or slippery surfaces that could cause wheels or outriggers to slide. Ensure the road is clear of debris, waste, hoses, and loose materials. If the ground isn't suitable, stop and choose a safer location, or put controls in place. Maneuvering mobile platforms safely into position. When moving a mobile platforms, move slowly and deliberately. No sudden turns or speed. Use a banksman or spotter to guide you and watch for hazards. Never move the mobile platforms with the platform elevated unless the manufacturer allows it and the ground is verified safe. Keep hands clear of pinch points and frame sections. Watch for transitions, curbs, ramps, thresholds, and changes in surface level. Stop immediately if the wheels start to sink, drag, or tilt. Remember, a mobile platform is only as stable as the surface it's rolling on. Setting up mobile platforms on final ground position. Once you've moved the mobile platforms into place, recheck the ground. Even small changes matter. Deploy outriggers or stabilizers fully if fitted. Use spreader pads under outriggers, never bricks, timber scraps, or makeshift packing. Ensure the machine sits square and level, no rocking or movement. Check for underground surfaces that could collapse under point load. Keep clear of edges, excavations, embankments, and retaining walls. If you cannot make the mobile platform stable, you cannot use it. Different terrain types and choosing the right MEWP. Different ground types require different MEWPs. Hard, level concrete, slab scissor lifts or electric booms. Rough, uneven ground, rough terrain booms or scissors with four-wheel drive. Soft or unstable ground, tracked mobile platforms or spider lifts with wide load distribution. Confined or sensitive areas, lightweight tracked units or vertical masts. Choosing the wrong machine for the terrain is one of the biggest causes of instability. Weather and environmental factors. Ground conditions can change quickly. Rain can turn firm soil into soft ground. Frost can hide instability. Heat can soften tarmac. Heavy plant nearby can cause vibration or ground movement. If conditions change, stop and reassess before continuing. Conclusion. To summarize, any access equipment is only safe when the ground beneath it is safe. Check the surface before you move it, while you move it, and after you position it. If the ground isn't firm, level, and capable of supporting the load, then the equipment isn't safe to use. We don't take chances with stability. Overhead risks when working at height. Before we start any work at height, we need to look not just below us, but above us. Overhead hazards are one of the most serious risks on any site, and they're often the ones people forget to check. A moment of inattention can put you, your team, and the public in danger. Overhead power lines. One of the biggest risks is overhead power lines. Electricity can arc. It doesn't need direct contact. If a MEWP, scaffold, pole, or even a long tool gets too close, the result can be fatal. So we must maintain the required minimum clearance distances at all times. Follow the look-up, look-out principle before raising any platform. Never assume lines are insulated. Treat every overhead line as live and lethal. Stop work immediately if you're unsure of the voltage or safe distance. If there's any doubt, we get the area assessed and controlled before work continues. AW-specific overhead risks. MEPs introduce additional overhead hazards because the platform moves vertically and horizontally. Key risks include entrapment between the platform and overhead structures, boom swing into obstacles, unexpected movement when the ground shifts, restricted visibility when elevating. Before raising an MEP, we must do a full 360-degree check around and above the machine. Use a banksman when visibility is limited. Move slowly and deliberately. Never elevate under power lines or low structures unless the area is controlled and authorized. Materials and tools overhead. It's not just the equipment, it's what we carry. Long materials like conduit, pipe, timber, or metal sections can bridge into power lines, strike overhead structures, knock into other workers, shift the center of balance on a platform. We must always plan the lift, the route, and the clearance before raising materials. Scaffolding and clearance requirements. When erecting or working from scaffolding, we must maintain safe horizontal and vertical clearances from overhead lines. Only trained and competent scaffolders should work near electrical hazards. No metal components should be handled within unsafe distances. Finished scaffolds must be checked to ensure they do not breach clearance zones. If the scaffold is too close, it must be redesigned. We never compromise on electrical safety. To summarize, when working at height, overhead hazards are just as dangerous as the risks below. Power lines, structures, materials, and restricted spaces can all cause serious harm if we don't plan properly. So before we lift, raise, or extend anything, we look up, we check the space, and we keep clear. No job is worth the risk of overhead contact.
People get away with it. They forget the rules. But there's no danger just then.
Yeah, look.
Or they don't look out, but someone else is vigilant. It's when two things coincide that things go wrong. When the danger's there, but goes unnoticed.
Oh, it's Dad.
I was going to ask you how the weekend went.
Apparently I've got to ask you how the weekend went.
I heard Sunday was a write-off.
Oh, brilliant. Of course it was. Right, mate, yeah, so anyway, we're here. Back to the job, I reckon 20 minutes or so. All right, mate. Whoa!
Speaking up when something doesn't look right. Always. Stop if it's not right. Ask the question. No stupid questions. Don't walk by. Speak up. Report it. If we don't, you are only putting yourself and the safety of others at risk.